Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my review of The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Now, this is one of the latest self-help books that I've read so far this year, and I can say that this is definitely one of my favorites that I've read so far in this year. In this video, I'll be talking about some of the things which I found very useful from the first 50% of this book. The second 50% of the book has not been included by me in this video because I think if you like the things that I talk about from the first half of the book, you'll definitely pick it up and read, because I think everyone needs to read this book, as all of us deal with money no matter how old or young we are. And at some point in our life, everyone deals with some problems when it comes to dealing with money. So I think it will be highly useful for anyone out there. Without any further ado, let's get into the review right away. Now, in The Psychology of Money, the author actually takes a psychological approach towards understanding the concept of wealth and dealing with money in various spheres of our life. Now, the book is very short in length. It's not even 250 pages long, and it is divided into 20 chapters. The author actually gives us a reason why the book is so short, because statistically he says that most people who pick up a book that's over 300 pages long don't end up finishing it. So instead of writing a book that is long but will not be read completely by many people, he'll write a short book which can be read completely by everyone. And I think that's a really good idea as well, because when it comes to topics like this, some things may be redundant, and if the book is long and the things keep on repeating again and again, it'll definitely bore a reader, especially if they are new to reading self-help books related to personal finance. In each and every one of the 20 chapters, the author makes use of at least one story from his own life or from the life of different people across history, from during the time of the world wars until now, and all of them are really noteworthy stories. All of them are not definitely positive and uplifting stories. There are also some tragic stories which are just included in order to give us a picture of the reality that anything might happen at any time. One thing which the author says in the beginning of the book itself is that the role of luck when it comes to acquiring wealth or richness, as we call it, is very much crucial, but it's definitely not a thing that needs to be glorified. He emphasizes the role of luck in acquiring wealth, whereas he does not glorify it at any place. This makes more sense because we see a lot of people who get rich suddenly don't seem to have worked hard for so many years put together. It just takes a single stroke of luck in order to make them wealthy beyond our dreams or their dreams itself. This needs to be understood because that is not something which can happen to everyone on a daily basis. It just happens by chance to someone, one in a million probably, and at the same time, just because it is so less probable, it should not be avoided totally also. He says that financial success is definitely not a hard science but just a soft skill which we have to nurture and start developing from a very young age, so that it doesn't become difficult towards the older ages of our life. And even if we are older currently in our life, it is very crucial, at the same time easy, to develop this soft skill. The next main thing which we have to understand is that the ideology of wealth or acquiring money for everyone is totally different depending upon the circumstances in which they were brought up. It can be dependent upon the society in which they were brought up, or the type of parenting that they had as a kid, or the amount of effort that they had to give in order to receive something. That made me think of more like how a villain character is written. Okay, if we see in any story a villain that is very powerful always has some motive, and that motive, even though it is totally ill and evil while we see it in an objective way, for that particular villain it makes complete sense and they will do anything in order to achieve that. The same concept also applies to each and everyone's ideology of dealing with money, because all of us are brought up in different circumstances, yet we think that the same solutions can work out for each and every person across the world. For example, I'm a person who buys a lot of books, and for some people who are not like me, it might seem like I just invest a lot in books and I just spend my money uselessly on them. But I know why I'm spending on books, and it need not be understood by others, because I'm the person who's going to deal with the results of spending money in books and not the person who's thinking about me. The same applies to me as well. If I see some other person who's buying a lot of clothes and spending a lot of money in them, and if I think that it's a waste, from my point of view it's a waste of money, but from their point of view it might totally just be an investment to make more of just the good clothes that they have. So the bottom line is just that the ideology when it comes to acquiring money and maintaining it in their life is totally different for each and every person across the world. The next thing is that major financial decisions are actually not dealt by the facts and spreadsheets that we see across the systems and acquire knowledge from, but they are just dependent on the decisions that we make on the dinner table, because most of us just take the financial decisions that we take by discussing it with our family members, because they are the people who totally know about our conditions and our income and the state of our bank accounts throughout the year. Each and every time we make a decision, we mostly think about our family, how it is going to affect us, how it is going to affect them, will they be safe, will we be safe, and if we save a particular amount of money, no matter for what cause it is, will it be helpful for us if something unfruitful comes up in the next 5 or 10 years down the line. These are the things which we usually think, no matter how much knowledge that we have. Even after finishing reading this book and acquiring a lot of knowledge from it, I know that the things that are going to drive me to take the decisions that I take when it comes to dealing with my money towards the future is definitely going to be based on my personal life in that particular day or particular instant, and the needs and requirements of myself and my family. This doesn't just apply for me as a person or anyone in specific, it just applies to each and every individual person across the world, no matter how many incomes we are dealing with when it comes to a single person or a family as a whole. The next one is probably my most favorite of all the things that the author has talked about in this book, and it is that we have to look for patterns rather than just focusing on a single person whom we think to be a role model for us or whom we think to be an inspiration for us. I'm sure that everyone has some person that we consider as a role model and we follow their techniques in some way or the other in order to get to that status someday. But it doesn't work for everyone because the conditions that are surrounding that person and the conditions that are surrounding us are totally different, most probably. And that is the main reason that even though we try all the things that they do, we are not able to reach that status. So in order to avoid this problem, the author actually says that while we are setting up a goal, we have to look for people who have attained that goal, not just a single person but many. And in order to most probably attain that goal, we have to monitor all of them and see common patterns that all of them follow throughout their lives. And if we too follow that, there's a higher chance of acquiring that level of success rather than just zeroing in on a single person, because when we are targeting on a particular person alone and trying to imitate their lifestyle, it might not work out, because when it comes to any individual person, the conditions are totally specific and they are totally differently specific for you, and the higher probability is that it will definitely not work out for you. So always look out for patterns rather than just zeroing in on a single person whom you consider to be a role model and follow their traits and their habits alone continuously. The next one is definitely an evil which we all face no matter how much we try, and it is social comparison. Okay, I'm sure that each and every person who's watching this video, including myself, has been a prey for social comparison in some way or the other. Even though we know that it is not necessary, we cannot stop ourselves from comparing us with the others that are in a similar social status, because we are just conditioned in that way even from our childhoods. That's the simple formula that the author actually gives in the book that shows the amount of happiness that you'll have. It is that expectations minus results equals happiness. I leave it on the screen so that it can make a lot more sense for you guys. He says that there is no need to give any importance for that social comparison, because no one ever hits the roof of that mark that social comparison sets, because it is totally unattainable, because the point of view of each and every person, even when it comes to the similar society, is totally different, because each and every person is totally specific and the conditions that they have, just as we discussed before, where we have to look for patterns, is totally similar. So social comparison is definitely an evil which we have to look out for and try to keep ourselves out from, even though it will be very, very tough to do. The next important concept is compounding, and in order to illustrate how compounding works and how powerful it can be over a long period of years, he tells us the story of Warren Buffett. And as of the time that this book was published in 2020, his net worth has been $84.5 billion, and he has lived through 14 recessions during his entire investing life. And it's not like Warren Buffett started investing while he was in his prime young ages, like in the 20s or 30s. He started investing as young as he was 10 years old, and for 7 decades he's been continuously investing and been in the market continuously. It's definitely a story of perseverance which has led to a huge success. When it comes to his case, just think about it, living through 14 recessions and then having a net worth of $84.5 billion towards his later years in life is definitely a thing which teaches us something in some way or the other. And the thing that he emphasizes using Warren Buffett's story is the power of compounding. It is just like developing small habits and doing them consistently over a long period of time, instead of just doing huge things during small parts of your life and expecting big benefits, because it doesn't work for most people. But if we do small things consistently over a long period of time, the compound effect of them towards the end will be staggering, and it's the same case when it comes to money also. At last, I want to talk about 2 important points which I got from the first half of the book. The first one is that time is the greatest dividend of money. Okay, there is one main reason that all of us save money for, and it is that we have to get some extra time when there is less time in our life in the future. A really easy example for this one is that if we are ill, okay, I hope that no one gets ill in the future, but by some chance if someone gets ill in the future and we have to pay a lot of money in order to just survive, we are ready to pay that because we just want that time in order to live this life and experience all the things that we want to experience. So at the end of the day, time is the greatest dividend that money gives, and I'm sure that all of us are ready to work hard now to just get a little bit extra time in our lives. And the last and most important of all the things from the first half is that saving does not need a reason at all. Okay, you can save for any reason or no reason at all for the future. There are many people who save for buying a home or getting married or give a better future and career for their children in the future. There might be multiple reasons for saving. At the same time, there need be no reason at all in order to save for the future, because we don't know what the future holds. It can be something very pleasant or something very horrible, but having money during that time can definitely buy us more time, because time is the greatest dividend that money can give, just as I said before. At the end of the day, if you have more money, you're going to be able to spend the time that you have according to your wish, and that's probably the greatest gift that anyone can ask for. So yes guys, that was my review of The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. I hope that this video was helpful for you and you found some value from this. And if you end up reading the book, I'm sure that you will get a lot more value out of the book as well. If you found this video helpful in some way or the other, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel, because I publish new videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.